And this is Ken Kreitzer for CaMmVetsMedia, another edition of the Army Football Huddle. And this week, the Army Black Knights will travel out to Manhattan, Kansas to take on Kansas State from the Big 12. And tonight, I'm at West Point in the Hall of Fame area in the KaMmVetsMedia Center. Just stepped out of calls with Cody Worley and Cale Hellam and Colin Madison, and really the hero of the day, Larry Pickett Jr., who, as you all must have heard, Saturday night, he and his father were driving back from dinner in New York City, just on 9W, just short of West Point. They saw a car accident. A car hit a telephone pole, I believe.
Yep.
They stopped. They saw the peril the driver was in because of electrical power lines that were knocked down. And they went and they pulled the driver from the car and brought him to safety. And then moments later, the car engulfed in flames, all before first responders could get there. So Larry Pickett got, among other accolades, a note from the Secretary of the Army congratulating him on his presence of mind and acting like a Army cadet and Army soldier should act when facing an emergency. So let's say welcome everybody. Our group is here. And I know I see Chuck Donegan is on. Chuck was with us on Friday night here at Michie Stadium on the sideline, as a matter of fact, for most of the game. Chuck, how are you?
I'm good, Ken. A lot better than Army's loss Friday night at the end, although that heartwarming story about the daring rescue by Larry Pickett Sr. and Jr., was definitely real embodiment of Army values, heroic, and, I was genuinely moved by it.
Absolutely. And let's see, we have Sam Houston from the Beat Navy studio in Huntsville, Alabama. We have Colonel Houston.
Hey, Ken, it's week 2 Army football, and Friday night, it was a disappointment, but Larry Pickett Sr. and Jr. demonstrated the type of character that embodies the people who make up the Corps cadets and the football team, and it brought a heartwarming and good news story to the nation on the heels of the disappointing loss on Friday.
Absolutely. Colonel, always good to see you. We have Richard Miller on tonight.
Yes, Ken, I am here. Good to be here. Wow. Very powerful story about what I heard. Glad everyone's okay.
That's super. Thank you, Richard. And let's see, we have Jack McGurk tonight. Jack may be joining us later.
Yeah.
And
He's here.
He's here.
oh,
I'm
wow,
here.
we got a Jack McGurk sighting. That's always good to
Yeah.
see.
I'm here.
Photo.
Yeah.
Boy. And so, Jack, how are you?
Doing well. Happy to be back. Tough loss for Army. Last week they announced up at Army for the first time that they're going to start selling adult beverages at Michie Stadium. You might need a few with the way that game ended.
Well, oh gosh, I was just talking to Coach Monk, and he walked by, and after the game, he didn't, he looked like he had a headache. Literally, he had a water bottle on his forehead. I asked him how he was doing. He just said, "Boy," and he takes losses very, very difficultly, very tough, as you might imagine. That's part of why he's so successful.
Oh yeah.
So I had to remind him about all the successes they've had, and they got another game on Saturday.
Yeah.
And he's looking forward to it. But and I want to thank, we've got Stephanie Zachary with us, helping with production. Stephanie, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Very stressful last couple of days, and then I was technically at the bar, and he was in a different. Sam Houston was in a different area of the bar watching the game, and I did not want last week's prediction to be there. Like I said, I was really hoping for a win. I'm like, I hope, but there was just too many unknown variables, and we can only go up from here.
Yep.
That's what we got to look at. We can only go up.
Mhm.
Well, let's run down the game. We got everybody. Did I introduce everyone who's with us tonight?
We got Richard.
We got Richard. Yeah.
Yep.
We said hi to Richard, and he's going to tell us about some of the big games in college football and opening on the first opening full week. And let me get the notes out. Obviously, a game that early Army had a 7-3 lead on a Dwayne Coleman 26-yard run, and then Tarleton answered back with a touchdown, a 10-yard run by their outstanding running back Page, and then Dawson Jones for Army got a 24-yard field goal to tie it up. Cale Helms gave Army a lead with a 1-yard touchdown run at the end of the second quarter. And then in the third quarter, Hayden Reed, a 37-yard rush, gave Army a 2-touchdown lead, 24-10. Things were looking good until 3 consecutive drives. Army had interceptions, and Hayden Reed fumble gave Tarleton a chance to get back in the game with 2 touchdowns, scoring in the fourth on a 15-yard pass play from their excellent quarterback, Victor Cabalas, to Hearn. And then in the overtime, Tarleton kicked a field goal, and Army matched it in the first overtime. Second overtime, Tarleton a 37-yard field goal, and Army missed their field goal opportunity. Sam, disappointing first game. The turnovers really were the difference. Army could have coasted if they had not had the 2 interceptions, and the fumble. The fumble really hurt because it gave Tarleton the ball on about the Army 20-yard line. They quickly converted it. What was your assessment of the game?
Well, Ken, I thought it was, a very exciting game. Black Knights kept it fairly solid lead through about the third quarter. And then around the fourth, I just sensed we were turning a corner, what with all the injuries. I mean, there are quite a few players that had to be carried off the field that time. We had multiple timeouts. Texans really just came on strong to tie the game, force it into the overtime periods. This despite these strong performances, I thought by Dwayne Coleman, Hayden Reed that you mentioned, thought both did a good job. And, they just overtook them in the end. But, hopefully it'll be better for them against Kansas this coming weekend.
Okay. Let's go to Sam Houston. What were your thoughts?
First off, I just want to make a point of mentioning that Army's record when they go into under Monken, when they go into the fourth quarter with the lead, is exceptional. I don't know the exact numbers, but it is very, very, very rare that Army loses a game in the fourth quarter when they have the lead going in. This game was an extremely disappointing meltdown, and it was a failure at every phase of the game. And when I say that, I mean there were mistakes made at the quarterback and specialty positions on offense. The offensive line play was in disarray at many times. I saw that there was a stat that 17 of Army's first down plays gained 2 yards or less. There were coaching decisions that were baffling and just inconsistent with Army typical strategy under Monken to put the game away. Having a 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line in the fourth quarter after you've run the ball to get to that point and a touchdown lead, and then the very first play on first down from the 17 is to throw the ball into triple coverage, which was intercepted and killed the drive. Just when Army had a chance to run at least another 3 minutes off of the fourth quarter clock and go up by 2 touchdowns. And Then special teams. I can't pin the tail on the kicker for the missed field goals, the one at the end of regulation, which would have won the game and would have saved us from going into overtime, or the one that was missed in the second overtime. And I say that because, as I told Stephanie on the night of the game, I said the kicker should have never been put in that position. The team made mistakes in abundance in the fourth quarter that made me remember the Ellerson days, when it just seemed like Army would figure out a way to fumble or intercept their way out of a lead of any game that they played in. So questions come to mind. And first off, this is not panic time, but there are some serious questions that come to mind. One, how bad was Dwayne Coleman hurt at the end of the first half? And I say that because he never threw the ball the same again when he was back in. And if he was not ready to go back in, he shouldn't have been back in the second half at all. Second, the offensive line play. It was atrocious against Tarleton State. Now, I admit Tarleton State is a good team. They are a top 10 FCS team. I made mention of that last week during the huddle. They're not Bucknell. They're not VMI. And they are a legit top 10 FCS team. They're very good, and they have a bunch of 3-year starters on their team. But when we talk about what were some of the big holes that were created last season, we often think about Bryson Daly. And yeah, the quarterback position is a big hole and big shoes to fill, especially with the kind of season that Bryson Daly had last year. Let's talk about Matt Drinkall. He was the offensive line coach last year. He left right before the Navy game. And we saw what happened in the Navy game without Drinkall coaching the offensive line. They looked terrible. And they got a little bit of a reprieve in the bowl game against Louisiana Tech. But on Friday night, the offensive line, which is the largest offensive line, I believe, that has been fielded in the Monken era and brings back its core of Brady and DeGenerelli, that these guys should be dominating the inside play, and they're not. They were getting beat. They were missing assignments. They were missing blocks, and they were putting the offense behind the sticks on almost every single drive. The right way for the triple option to work is that on first down, you want to get at least 5 yards. And that way you're looking at 3 more downs to get the other 5 yards. It also puts you in position where on second down, that's a good passing down because you're looking at a second short yardage and you can catch the defense out of position because they're expecting a run. They didn't have those opportunities. So we've got to really take a hard look this week at mentally fixing the 6 inches between the ears for all the players to make sure that they didn't lose confidence, because it looked to me like the team just kind of lost confidence in the fourth quarter with those mistakes. Got to fix the offensive line badly. Got to fix the offensive line. Got to figure out who the quarterback's going to be. Because I still say, just like I said before the season started, I don't think Army has a clear starter at quarterback, and I still do not believe they have a clear starter at quarterback. And I have a gut feeling, I'm not Nostradamus, but I believe that before this season is over, you're going to see a plebe starting at quarterback for Army. So, and then one other thing that I did make note of, one other player that I brought up last week that I was keeping a close eye on, Cody Harris Miller. I want to know how healthy he is because of how important he is to the middle of the defensive line. Guess what? He went down with an injury. How healthy is he? Is he 100%? We don't know. Is he going to be able to go all season? If not, we better have a next man up at the nose tackle position because he is also big shoes to fill. And if he's not 100%, then we better start rotating in someone who can fill the void there. But hey, it's not panic time, but man, it was maybe, I'm not going to say the most disappointing loss that I've seen in the Monken era, but by golly, it ranks in the top 10 for sure. for sure.
Most
They should
definitely.
never have lost that game. Never.
Thanks, Sam. Definitely, I agree with you. It was a very disappointing loss, but it was to a good team. Yes, I would have to say the quarterback position is a question. Dwayne Coleman today in practice was not practicing. He may have practiced more early, but when I was watching the scrimmage, it was Cale Helms and Zach Mundell alternating running the offense. And they may be giving Dwayne a couple of days to try and recover from the injury he had late in Friday night's game. I don't know if we'll have a freshman playing this year, but Bryson Luter is on the dress list. He dressed on Friday night, and I don't see the other two quarterbacks on the list having dressed on Friday night. So I guess he's right now the fourth quarterback. Evan Washington, I think we can conclude is after the season, and so that's very unfortunate for the cadet, and also I know he might have been, as I said to Coach Monken in August, a pretty effective 1-2 punch with Dwayne Coleman, but that is not going to happen this year, most likely. I did see on other injuries we have to check on Cody Harris-Miller. I watched him at practice today, and I would not be optimistic for this week at least. I'll see what happens. You also have Casey Larkin went out. I have to check on him. But Army did take a fair amount of injuries in that game Friday, and so we, how do you feel Kel Helm did when he was in there, Sam?
He ran the ball with I think he ran the ball inside better than Coleman. He's a bigger guy, and he seemed to run with a little more authority. He didn't go down at the first hit. And I'm not taking away from some of the runs that Coleman had, especially his touchdown run. It was Bryson Daly reminiscent. The trade-off, I believe, is that by my understanding, Helm is not as effective of a passer. But when it came to Friday night, I really felt that Army was passing the ball a little bit more than what you would call a comfortable level of passing for a Monken coach team. And so it's triple option is designed to set up a game-breaking pass play, because it brings the defense in. They start putting 9 and 10 men in the box trying to stop the run, and next thing you know, you can pop one over the top on a play action. On Friday night, the Army was running a lot of design pass plays, and in the second half, these design pass plays turned disastrous. And then the fumble by Hayden Reed was just inexcusable. And it played right into Tarleton State's approach to just sit back, don't crack, and let Army make mistakes, and we'll battle our way back into this game. Whereas up until the 1st and 10 from the 17 in the fourth quarter, it looked at that point like Army was getting back to Army football, running the ball, running time off the clock, effectively moving down the field in 3, 4, and 5 yard gains, and wearing out the Tarleton State defense. And then they just gave them a gift with this pass into triple coverage that I blame both Worley for the call, and I blame Coleman for not pulling the pass up and going to a safety valve or tucking it up and running it, because it was clear that the receiver was not open. It was triple coverage. So
Cody Worley said in the media conference today that he was not the intended receiver; was supposed to go to the tight end. So that was they all feel bad about that play, the way it worked out, and it really was crucial in the game.
backbreaker. It was a backbreaker.
Absolutely. Let's go to Richard Miller. Richard, why don't you tell us about some of the top, and let's just do 10, the top 10 results from Saturday's first week of college football.
Okay. The top 10 results from the first Saturday of college football. Number 3, Ohio State defeated number 1 Texas 14-7. Number 9, LSU 17-10 over number 4 Clemson. Let's see. Florida State 31-17 over number 8 Alabama.
Yeah.
You also have, let's see, what else? Oh, let's see. We have Kansas State 38-35 over North Dakota. Also, you have, let's see, what else? Oh, Navy 52-7 over VMI. And you also have, let's see, what else is there? Air Force defeated Bucknell 49-13.
Wow.
And you also have, let's see, what are the main games? You have California defeating Oregon State 34-15, Washington 38-21 over Colorado State, and finally you have Arizona 40-6 over Hawaii.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's not forget that Notre Dame Miami game, which was a thrilling win for Miami, and a very slugfest, bruising game. And then it also make mention of Bill Belichick's debut in college football coaching, which did not go as planned.
Miami 27-24 over number 6 Notre Dame, and TCU 48-14 over North Carolina in Bill Belichick's debut as North Carolina football head coach.
Wow. That's it's going to take Bill Belichick a while to get the talent in, and we'll be everyone will be following his journey as he goes into college football. Okay, let's hear. We had mentioned the Navy won big. Let's go to Jack and further thoughts on that and Air Force's game.
Yeah, well, Army had that tough loss at Mikey Stadium. Air Force and Navy both rolled over their opponents. Start off with Air Force, 49-13 win over Bucknell. And it was a 3-touchdown day for senior receiver Cade Harris. And second career start for junior Falcon quarterback Josh Johnson. He went 4 for 7 passing, throwing for 112 yards and earning 117 all-purpose, throwing 2 touchdowns. Sophomore quarterback Liam Zarka took the field for the first time as a Falcon, had 54 yards total on the day. Junior quarterback McGuire Martin also making a career debut in the game. Harris scored twice on the ground, earning 1 in his first and third quarters. And defense, junior linebacker Blake Fletcher led Air Force with a career-high 11 tackles. Junior Luke Fisher had 8. Linebacker Isaac Hubert had 2 sacks in the game. And with the win, Air Force has won 20 of its last 21 season openers at home. And they improved to 19 consecutive wins in season openers, which stands as the second longest active streak in the nation, only behind The Ohio State with 25. Air Force has a bye week this weekend, and then September 13th, they are on the road at Utah State.
Okay.
Navy, as Richard mentioned, 52-7 win over VMI. Navy rushed for 464 yards. They had 556 total yards offense. VMI had 212. The Navy defense actually held VMI to just 15 yards rushing. Braxton Woodson ran for 180 yards, 2 long touchdowns in the second half for Navy. Woodson had rushing touchdowns of 74 and 68 yards. Quarterback Blake Horvath threw for 66 yards, and Eli Heidenreich had 70 yards rushing and 65 receiving, and 2 touchdowns as well. So Navy just ran over VMI, and next weekend they are hosting UAB at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium in Annapolis.
So that will be a true test. 424-15 rushing. That's not a fair fight game.
Yeah.
Yeah, Army's played BMI a few times and with generally similar results. I think Army played a much more difficult opponent in Tarleton State this week. And so, Jack, thank you. We'll have you keep track of the Naval Academy and the Air Force Academy during the season. Glad to have you back on that.
Happy to be back.
Okay, yeah. So let's turn our attention to Kansas State. They played the opening game of the season, lost a close one in Ireland to Iowa State, and then they came back home and played North Dakota State, a team pretty comparable to Tarleton, maybe better, and perennial championship team in the football championship subdivision. Also, the school where their coach came from, and I'm going to get my notes out. So they came back, but it was a close game, and but they got their feet on the ground, and we'll have another home game. And Sam, what's your thought on going out to play at Kansas State? It's only going to be a chance. Two big Army bases in the area: Fort Riley, Fort Leavenworth, not far from Fort Sill, and some of the bases in Texas. Definitely one of the reasons Army scheduled this game is that it's really almost the heart of Army-based country.
Yeah, true that. And I did want to make just a quick comment. Let's not confuse North Dakota with North Dakota State, who
Right.
is the perennial FCS division champions. But North Dakota is very good, and yes, I would put them in the top 20 of FCS teams for sure. So comparable to Tarleton State, and they played. Matter of fact, North Dakota should have beaten Kansas State. I was watching a replay of the game, and we'll get into that in just a minute. But yeah, I'm not sure when the last time Army played Kansas State. I do remember that they played Kansas State in I want to say the 87 season, maybe. And there was a big contingent of military folks that were in attendance at that game because of the close proximity of Fort Riley and Fort Leavenworth, and it's an easy track to get over there. And I would imagine that Army's probably representing the Big Red One, First Infantry Division, because of the fact that Fort Riley is right there. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just making that assumption. But it's Kansas State. They had a good year last year. I think they won 9 games, and they brought back a pretty good selection of starters from last season, and they fully expected to come into this season and continue rolling like they were last year, which is why they were ranked 17th, I think. I think they were ranked higher than that before they lost to Iowa State. They probably should still be ranked somewhere in the top 20, I would imagine, when Army plays them on Saturday. But I got to say, Kansas State, they showed some weaknesses against North Dakota. And one of the things that you wouldn't expect, and this should be advantageous for Army, is that Kansas State's defensive line only averages 250, which is very unusual for an FBS team to have a defensive line that only averages 250 pounds. I was looking at a stat. North Dakota's offensive line averaged 6'5", 307. And Kansas State's defensive line was like 6'4", 250. And if you watch the game, you saw Kansas State's defensive line get shoved around a lot by these corn-fed boys from North Dakota. So there's opportunity there. And I'm pointing this out because some of the same things that I was talking about from the Tarleton State game that was baffling is why Army was not getting a push on the inside, why Army was not sticking to Army game plan and grinding it out and you know, going 3 and 4 yards and wearing out the other defense. Why were they doing all these design pass plays? Kansas State's not the team to do that against, these design pass plays. They've got a very athletic backfield, defensive backfield, and they're very fast and they're very athletic. And they're going to be coming out to play, and they're going to be ready to jump some pass routes if Army's going to be trying to do the same type of game plan they did against Tarleton State. So I'm hoping that this week we're back to the drawing board, and not necessarily back to the drawing board, but back to the playbook and back to the basics, and to come out with a game plan that's designed to punch the ball with traps, counters, midline reads and midline zone runs, and read pitches to the outside to exploit perimeter ball, and keep the ground game going. You minimize more so turnovers when you keep it on the ground. And as Monken says, there's only 3 things that can happen when you throw a pass, and 2 of them are bad. So
I think a
we'll
few
see.
coaches have said that over the years, Sam.
What's that?
I think a few coaches have said that over the years.
Yeah, I've heard Monken say that in person before, and it's pretty funny when he says it. Now, Kansas State's quarterback, Johnson, he's an athletic guy. I think he was the starter last year, and but North Dakota put a lot of pressure on him, got him rattled. And I got to say, especially in the first half, he got rattled into throwing several errant passes that I guess that the North Dakota defenders had Crisco on their hands, that they weren't able to actually secure these interceptions. But he was really throwing very poorly, especially in the first half. So, you know, Army's going to need to be able to take a hard look at what North Dakota was able to do in defensive schemes, and to see what actually worked to get men, free, that held up blockers and got men free to be able to pressure the quarterback, because Kansas State does run a lot of RPO. And when teams run RPO effectively, it gives Army a lot of fits on defense. So you want to be able to disrupt that delayed handoff read that is a key element of the RPO, and force the quarterback to throw the ball errantly like he was against North Dakota. So this is a winnable game. I'm just gonna say straight up, after watching Kansas State play both against Iowa State and watching them play against North Dakota, I am here to tell you they are a winnable game. That is not me saying that Army's going to win the game, but I am telling you, Army goes and plays a perfect game, has a great game plan, and they stick to it, and they don't get rattled and come unglued in the fourth quarter. They may be able to finish off what North Dakota did not do this past Saturday.
Okay, Sam, thank you. Thank you for your analysis. Let's go to Richard and go through what are the top 10 games you're going to be watching, Richard?
As far as the top 10 games that I will be watching, let's see. Number 6 Oregon taking on Oklahoma State. That will be a 3:30 game. Also, you have Ohio State number 1 taking on Grambling. That will also be at 3:30. Let's see. South Florida will be taking on number 13 Florida State. That's a 4:15 game. Also, you have let's see. Number 19 Texas A&M taking on Utah State. And you also have let's see, number 3 LSU taking on Louisiana Tech, and also number 7 Texas taking on San Jose State, and number 10 South Carolina taking on South Carolina State. That will be a 7 o'clock game. Arizona State number 12 taking on Mississippi State. That will be a 7:30 game.
Okay, thank you very much, Richard. And let's go to Jack. Remind us again, where are the other 2 service academies playing?
Well, Air Force has a bye week this weekend. And then the following Saturday, September 13th, Air Force is on the road at Utah State. And Navy this weekend, they are at home. They're hosting UAB.
So they open up play in the American Athletic Conference.
Yep.
Army will start their AAC schedule in 2 weeks as they will host North Texas here at Mikey Stadium. Okay, let's go into our lightning round and our predictions for Army playing out at Kansas State in Manhattan, Kansas. Let's start with, let's go to Chuck. Chuck, what are your thoughts on the game and what do you think on the score?
Well, I think it should be a pretty good match. Close one. I think Manhattan will give them a run for their money. I think the final will be 28-14 Army.
28-14 Army is Chuck's forecast. Okay, very good. Thank you, Chuck. And let's go to Chuck. Why don't I ask you just quick while we'll come back to you. Chuck, why don't you pull up the schedule for the American Athletic Conference and you can go through what are the other games in the conference. But we'll go around the lightning round. We'll come back to you so you can look that up. Okay, let's go to Jack.
All righty. Well, I was looking at the history of these two schools, and Sam was right on the money. The last time these two schools played was in September of 1987, and that was a 41-14 win for Army. In the case this weekend, it should be a close game. Army's going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder after that tough loss, and I think Army is going to win this one. I think it's going to be a little bit closer. I'm going to say Army 28-21.
So 28-21. Okay. Okay, now let's see. Let's go to Stephanie next. Stephanie, what's your thought on the game?
So I also did research after Sam was like the last time that Kansas State played Army, and they are so far a 0-2 losing streak. Kansas State is against Army, so they might still have a chip on their shoulder too. So I agree with Jack McGurk that it's going to be a close one, but I do think that Army will take it out if they do the adjustments that need to be made, and if Army also paid attention to both who the other team was playing and watched their games and learned how to figure out how to adjust to combat the weaknesses that they saw.
Okay, very good, Stephanie. So what's the score that you have for us?
I would have to probably say around Jack McGurk's thing, 28-21.
28-21, okay.
Yep.
And then, okay, let's go to Sam Houston. And what's your prediction on Army at Kansas State?
This is a tough one, and I did want to make mention that Friday night something happened that has not happened in 10 plus years under Monken, and that is Army lost to an FCS team. That's pretty rough. Yeah, Tarleton State.
There's been a couple of games, Sam. I mean, there's the Fordham game and the
in 10 years, Army
10
has not
years.
lost
Okay,
an
yeah,
FCS.
that was
On
bad memory.
Monken's first 2 years when they were, in the middle of rebuilding, yeah. But since the 2015 season, Army has not lost to an FCS opponent. And yeah, it was Tarleton State. Yeah, they're a top 10 FCS. They're not a bottom 20 FCS like Bucknell and VMI, but you still expect Army to beat an FCS team regardless of where they fall in the FCS rankings. And there were so many glaring deficiencies that were staring at you as you analyze the game. And this is what I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with quarterback play, offensive line play, and Cody Harris Miller and the interior defensive line play. Can these be corrected? Can Cody Harris Miller go, or can somebody be able to fill his large shoes and tie up Kansas State offensive linemen so that the linebackers can run free? I don't know, but the offensive line is what concerns me the most. Can what I saw Friday night get sorted out in time for Kansas State? It can, but it's going to take Army getting back to a basic game plan of triple option football and sticking to it and not making mistakes. This game has a 0 margin of error because Kansas State is still a ranked team. They still believe they're a ranked team. They have the talent and they're playing at home. And I'm honestly, I'm going to do something I've never done on this huddle ever. And I'm just going to do it. I'm going to say, I do not see all these deficiencies being completely corrected come by Saturday evening in Manhattan, Kansas. And therefore, I do believe it's going to be a close game. I just see there being a 2% margin of error going on with Army that's going to be the difference. And it's going to result in Kansas State winning, much like how they came back late in the fourth quarter to beat North Dakota. They're going to do the same thing against Army. And it's going to be a score very similar to the Kansas State North Dakota game. So I'm going to say 34-31 Kansas State. Sorry, Army.
34-31.
Yep.
Kansas. Wow. Wow, that's a shocker. That's a shocker when Sam Houston
This is, I want to be
goes to
wrong.
the
I
opponent.
want to be wrong on this.
Okay.
Please make me wrong. I
You're
don't
wrong.
want to be right
Okay.
on this one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think this is going to be a challenging game for Army. They have a quarterback problem with Ethan Washington not available, and Dwayne Coleman maybe not 100%. Cale Elms can play, but it's different, and we'll see what happens. But you've also got a number of other players who were injured in the Friday night game. As Sam said, Cody Harris Miller was helped off the field. He did not look good today when I watched him. He was watching practice. You also have had Casey Larkin and Liam Fortner out. And we'll see if they're potentially available for this week. But having said that, Army still has a potent running game. Hayden Reed's got to hold on to the ball. That's just in the Army offense, they can't afford a fumble, and especially deep in your own territory. So hopefully that was something that we won't see again. And I'm sure he's been reminded quite a number of times this week that they don't want to see that happen again, because he can be a very effective runner for Army. See if they get some passing. Defense got to make the plays. Andon Thomas had a big game. I think he had 14 tackles. The inside of the Army, the linebackers for Army, Eric Ford played well, and of course Caleb Fortner.
Mm-hmm.
So the middle of the Army defense is quite solid, but we may be seeing could see a different nose tackle. You could see Jacob Tuioti, number 62 in, and I think he's gonna have to step up. So, but Kansas State's a team. They lost to Iowa State in Ireland, and they came back home and played to the last minute to win their game against North Dakota. And so the two coaches have familiarity. Coach Munkin competed against Coach Chris Kleeman when Kleeman was at North Dakota State, and so they know each other. They know what each other does. Coach Kleeman in his show was talking about knowing the way Army runs their offense and has great respect for it. He also looked at defense. He talked a lot about eye discipline. He talked about it for several minutes, and he wants to play defenders who have proper eye discipline. They're watching the right spot to pick up the keys for defense. Okay, so I got to come up with a score. I think this is good. May not be as high scoring a game. I'm going to give it to Army 21-17. And so I'm looking forward. I'll be out there reporting from Manhattan, Kansas on Saturday night. Looking forward to that. Also looking forward, I'm going to plan to visit Fort Leavenworth and do a couple of interviews there, hear about the Army. It's the Army Staff College. Is that correct, Sam? Did I say that right? Is that
Yes. That's the Command and Staff College.
Command and Staff College. And then also hoping to go out to Fort Riley, working on setting that up. When Army goes to a place, it's always Military Appreciation Day. So I'm sure we'll see representatives of their National Guard and other Army units in the area, and a lot of Army fans at the game. Now, we asked Chuck to go look up what are the other games this weekend in the American Athletic Conference.
Well, Ken, we've got a few good matchups in store. Saturday, we got Howard taking on Temple, 2 o'clock. Texas State, UTSA, 3:30. Also at 3:30, UAB, Navy. And again at 3:30, North Texas, Western Michigan. While 4:15 brings us South Florida against Florida.
Okay. That's a team we won't see, South Florida. We also haven't seen Memphis last year, this year, which is kind of unique that you're in a conference and you don't see two of the better teams in your first 2 years, but I'm sure we'll likely see them next year.
It is important to note that South Florida on Thursday night put an absolute drubbing on Boise State, and let's not forget Boise State was in the FBS playoff last year.
What was the score of that game, Sam? Do you remember?
They won by 2 touchdowns at least. It wasn't even close. USF was winning from start to finish.
34-7.
There you go. It was a blowout. We were trying to watch that while we were eating supper, and it was just a blowout.
Wow. Okay.
I don't think Richard made his prediction on this week.
Richard, I'm sorry, Richard,
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Let's see. It just, I'm gonna go, it's going to be 27 14. 27-14.
And who are you putting the Richard hex on by picking them to win?
I'm gonna put it on I'm gonna put it on Army. For some reason I believe Army's got to bounce back.
Right.
What's the score?
27-14 Army.
I'm the odd man out on this one.
Well, I was the odd man out last week, so.
All right, well, let's not keep that record going.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to be right.
I want to be the odd man out that's wrong.
There you go.
I didn't want to be right either.
So you want to be right this week because you picked Army.
Oh yes, I do.
So I got two quick comments, Ken.
Go ahead, Sam.
First is with regards to Larry Pickett Jr. and his father, Larry Pickett Sr. Hey, SecDef, if you're listening to this, Sec Army, maybe Superintendent, hey, look, Larry Pickett Jr., he meets the qualifications within the regulation for the Soldier's Medal, and I think that he should get it. And that just may already be in the works. But I'm just telling you that this is a situation where the kid deserves the medal and the recognition. And likewise, I do believe his father deserves some type of recognition, either through local law enforcement or even, from a civilian medal of appreciation, honoring them for what they've done. It would make for an outstanding ceremony, and it's a well-deserving event. And second thing I was going to comment is this. Hey, Cody Worley, Coach Monken, I know You're probably not listening to me. It's fine. I've got
Well, maybe
I've got
we are
my
in the Hall of
recipe
Fame
for
area.
I've got my recipe for success against Kansas State, and it's this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say before I say it, and why not? Hey, go old school. Jumbo the backfield with Wishbone. Put Jake Rendon at fullback. Put Hayden Reed and Noah Short at halfback. Double up tight ends on one end or the other, and strong side put hats on hats, and just run old school Barry Switzer style Wishbone against these guys. Nobody runs it anymore, and we've got the beef to do it. And I'd love to see Jake Rendina lead blocking, and just putting the bash down on some linebackers and opening up holes for folks. Just go hardcore, old school, knock them out football. Kansas State is undersized at the line of scrimmage, and this is a great opportunity to do that on the national stage. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, Sam, we appreciate it. Anyone else have a comment before we wrap up
Yeah,
tonight?
I would have to agree that I think Larry Pickett, senior and junior, deserve some sort of recognition for their act of heroism. It's also worth noting that Larry's sister Lauren actually recorded the whole thing on her phone, preserving it for posterity. The daring rescue, which later turned up on a lot of news programs. I know CBS 2 ran it on their late news Sunday night. So, it really was a
Yeah, I
heroic
heard on
deed.
CNN.
Yeah.
Hey, Sam, just me, what is the Soldier's Medal? What's the qualification for that?
Soldier's Medal, without going too deep into it, Soldier's Medal is a peacetime medal that's awarded to a service member who who risked their own life and limb in order to and puts themselves in harm's way, risking life and limb in order to save somebody else. And he certainly met that qualification in this regard. And I had a classmate when I was a brand new plebe. I mean, we had just finished Reorgi week. One of my classmates who was in my cadet company, Hasu Park. Hasu Park had been a prior enlisted soldier. And just before Hasu Park had left her unit to go through the admissions process at West Point, she had been involved in an incident where she had risked her life to save somebody else. And she was presented with a soldier's medal. And we had a ceremony in our cadet battalion area where the soldier's medal was presented to her for an act that she had performed as an enlisted soldier. And it was really powerful.
Well, that's great. And Larry Pickens is certainly very deserving. I remember, I think I was at one ceremony where a cadet was recognized for heroism while serving as a guard in an embassy, where there was an attack on that embassy, and the soldier, the West Point cadet, was able to help defend.
Yes, that
the
was
embassy.
was that Kenya? I believe it was. It was the bombings of the embassy, and the cadet was there on their summer assignment when the bombing happened.
And when
And
they
yes,
came back, they
award.
the cadet received his medal right in front of the whole Corps at a parade.
I'm pretty sure it was the soldier's medal. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a great story, and I'm sure they'll be talking about it on Saturday night in Manhattan, Kansas, on the broadcast. Looking forward to being out there and covering the game. You can follow our coverage on our YouTube page and on Twitter. We'll have some of the pregame activity. Looking forward to seeing the Kansas State band. Most of the time when Army goes out on the road, the home band will spell out Army on the field. We've seen that at Oklahoma and at Ohio State and a few other places. It's a terrific recognition. Okay, anything else? Okay, we'll finish up and thank everyone. We've got Chuck Donegan out of Long Island. Thank you, Chuck. We've got
My
Jack
pleasure.
McGurk in Pelham and New York. We've got Sam Houston in the Beat Navy studio in Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you, Colonel.
We'll see you in Manhattan this weekend.
Okay.
Mhm.
And we have Richard Miller down in West Palm Beach. Thank you, Richard.
My pleasure,
And
Ken.
getting us on, thank you, Richard. And getting us on the air tonight is Stephanie out of Minnesota, and we appreciate her help. And so again, this is Ken Kreitzer for CaMmVetsMedia. We cover cadets, midshipmen, the military, and veterans proudly since 2008. Thanks for watching.